And that book will document my first haunted house that I lived in for approximately 8 years. I will tell you, if you read 225th Street, early on that I had come out of a previous environment that was demonically haunted. And I had, with the help of a couple of friends, I had performed a successful exorcism on that property. And the house sold very quickly after we performed the exorcism. And so I moved into this house. I moved in the middle of a really bad snowstorm at the last week of February in 2010. And it was in Ohio. It was very, very heavy snowfall at that time. So it was like blizzard conditions when I moved. So it was very, very difficult moving and, driving a rental truck, like a U-Haul, and trailers with my personal belongings, from one town to another to make the move. But I was in the process of buying this house at 225th Street, and a realtor owned it. He had bought it at a sheriff's auction. The previous owners had lost the house and had a lot of very bad misfortune, so to speak, and ended up losing the house. And this realtor bought it for an investment. He was flipping the house, and I came along kind of scrambling because my previous house in Holmes County, Ohio, had sold so quickly that, I was really scrambling. I didn't have a lot of time to move and find a new house. So this realtor had agreed to let me move into 225th Street, and he said, I do believe you're going to have no trouble getting your mortgage. So go ahead and move in, and, we'll, when your mortgage closes, we'll settle up everything, and, it's your house. So I moved in, like I said, it was last week of February 2010, and the opening night, I'm in the house, and I was just as happy as can be to be out of that nightmare I had experienced for 8 years. And I was just laying there. I did not have time to set my bedroom up yet. We had moved that day, and it was a very long, difficult day. I was very tired. So I go upstairs to a spare bedroom, and I just laid down on the floor because my bed wasn't even set up yet. And I was laying there completely exhausted, and I'm just appreciating. I'm looking around the room, and I'm appreciating the woodwork that the builder had done in 1924. This man was very meticulous who built the house. He was an extreme perfectionist by all accounts, and he had really, he made things look nice. He did the woodwork looked very nice, and I was just laying on the floor staring at this closet door, and I was thinking about nothing except his handiwork and how, what a nice job he had done. And at that time, I knew nothing about him now. All I knew was that the house had been built in 1924, and that was all I knew, So I'm laying there, and just, nothing strange, going on. I hadn't had anything really strange or paranormal happen yet, so I was, not expecting anything. And out of the blue, I had a thought enter my mind, and it wasn't even in my own train of thought. And the thought that entered my mind was, it was like I heard a voice in my mind say, "You don't know anything about the history of this house." And then I thought to myself, I don't know anything about the history of this house. So on opening night, after that happened, I just said a spiritual warfare prayer that I had learned. I learned to pray this way in the previous house that was haunted. And it came down to, basically I just took kind of a shotgun approach, and I just said out loud, I said, I renounce every sin that has ever happened in this house, and I bind the demons, and I cast you out in Jesus' name. And, somewhat strange feeling I had left, and I went to sleep. Didn't think much of it. There were a few other little weird incidences during, over the next few days that I kind of downplayed, but looking back now, I think they probably were somewhat significant. At one point, I heard what sounded like just a very loud thud, like something had fallen in the house. I was in my bed trying to sleep, and I could not account. The sound did not happen in my bedroom. and I could not account for what could have caused that sound. I felt kind of uneasy when it happened, but I pushed it out of my mind and just said, it's an old house, forget it, and I went to sleep. About a week after I moved in, I walked into my bedroom. At this point, I had the bedroom I had chosen was all set up with my bed and everything, and I walked in one night, and I always kept my door shut. And I opened the door, I entered, and I immediately noticed that my bed was sitting very different than the way I had left it, that morning. It was sitting at a strange angle, and I thought, what in the world? How did that happen? Mm-hmm. And I convinced myself that my cousin, who had come and done some work, he was an electrician, and he did some electrical wiring for me, and I just convinced myself that he must have come into the house and gone up to my bedroom that day and double-checked some wiring that he had put in like a week earlier. Because as soon as I had moved in, he put a new electrical outlet and a cable television outlet in that bedroom for me. So I just convinced myself, I'm sure he did it. I'm going to ask him tomorrow when I see him, and he'll say, yeah, I did that. Sorry, I forgot to put it back. So I laid down in bed, and I was starting to, try to fall asleep. And when I shut my eyes, I had what now I know to be a vision. I know at this point that what I saw was a vision. It was like an image in my mind, and it was crystal clear. It was not like our normal thought processes. When we picture something in our mind or we remember something, it's not crystal clear. It's a little bit fuzzy. It's not, super vivid colors or anything like that. But what I saw in my mind was extremely clear, very vivid colors, razor-sharp definition. It was like clearer than what I've seen on any high-resolution television with a Blu-ray disc. I mean, it was very, very clear. And what I saw was my staircase outside my bedroom door, and I could see a hooded figure coming up my stairs. And it looked like an old man, thin, pasty-looking. He kind of looked like a dead person, to be honest, and very skinny. He had the black hood on with the hood up, and he was coming up the stairs slowly. He had his head down. He had a very sinister grin on his face. And when I saw that, it startled me. I opened my eyes, and I looked around the room, and I thought, where in the world did that come from? Wow. I'm not even afraid. Why would I be picturing something like this? And, what is going on, So I looked around. It startled me. And I closed my eyes, started to try to go to sleep again. As soon as I closed my eyes, there it was again. Exact same image, crystal clear, razor-sharp definition, the hooded figure that looked like an old man coming up the stairs. And this happened about 4 times altogether. And after the last time it happened, I really felt this is real. This is something serious, So I said again a spiritual warfare prayer where I renounced every sin that had ever happened in the house, and I bound the demons, and I commanded them to leave in Jesus' name.